And now joining us to go all out on this story is the PBA's winningest coach of all time, four-time PBA Coach of the Year, two-time Grand Slam champion, 24-time PBA champion, Barangay Ginebra mentor, the one, the only, Coach Tim Cohn. Coach Tim, good morning. Welcome back to the show. Congratulations.
Well, thank you. It was fun watching that report. I kind of, brought back a lot of memories already from that, all the little details and things that happened during that series, and it was really fun watching that report.
Well, great job to our Pauline Verzosa on that report. She was telling you already, expect a call from me. And yes, I was making you kulit already for that interview. You knew it was coming, Coach Tim, right? Does it get hold, though, another championship for you? 24 PBA titles now. 10 in the Governor's Cup. My gosh, wow. Does it ever get old, Coach Tim?
No, winning doesn't get old at all. I think that's the true in life. We all want to win. We all want to win whenever we can, and we all work hard for the win. These things don't come automatically. They take a lot of hard work, not from necessarily me, but from those young men that are putting in the hours every day, and the video work and the all the rehab and everything that they go through. It's amazing to watch them do it and do it day to day and see what they do with their bodies and their minds. So it never gets old. Losing gets old. I'll tell you, losing gets old in a real hurry, but winning never gets old.
What does this latest style make it? What makes this latest style special for you, and where does this rank among all the others you've had in the past?
Well, I think the latest one is always the best one because it's the freshest one, the one you remember the most. And, you get to live in that moment for a little bit before you have to move on. And I always tell my wife, I got about 48 hours to like this one, to live in this one. And then now I got to move on to the next conference. And I think that's really the key to coaching, is learning how to move on, not just from wins, but not just from losses, but also from wins. So we're going to move on from this and keep on going. But, this was kind of special because of just the journey that we were on and how badly we played early in the conference. And we had to overcome a lot of adversity, and we relied a lot on our leadership to move us forward. And it was really fun for me, from a coaching standpoint, watching those leaders step in and make impacts with the rest of the players.
Yes, I agree with you with the journey, because if I told you months ago, Coach Tim, you would win this conference, you'd probably laugh at me. But nobody, like all the fans, didn't doubt you, not one bit. Let's give credit also to Meralco, Coach. It was a great series. Meralco really gave you a run for your money in the finals. They put up a tough fight. We know that. You trailed this series actually twice after the Bolts won games 1 and 3. What was the toughest part about the specific Meralco team this time around? And for you, what were the keys to beating them again in this series, especially in games 4 to 6, when you had to win 3 times in a row and not let them extend it to a game 7?
Yeah, well, regarding that, we certainly didn't want to play a game 7. I know that there was probably it would have been a fun game 7 for everybody in Philippine Arena. Maybe we would have had around 50,000 people.
For sure.
It would have been fun for everybody else except us. And we knew that. And so we didn't want to go into a game 7. It was really crucial that we show up on this one. And that it's not easy being a great team like Meralco 3 times in a row. That is a true feat. And that Meralco has just grown over the years. They have evolved over the years, and they've become so much better. Guys like Chris Newsom, he has developed his game to really one of the premier players in the league. And then of course, you're just going up against Norman. I always say at this point, the difference between us winning and them winning is really just Justin Brownlee. Durham is, I don't want to take anything away from Durham or Bishop. They're great imports, but we all know Justin is special. And If he was on the other side and we had to go against him, I don't know if we'd figure out a way to beat them. So, he's been our, if there's any magic that we have, the magic is in Justin Brownlee.
Magic Brownlee, indeed. His numbers are just unbelievable. Even in the elimination round, 30 a game, 11 boards, 5 assists, almost 2 steals, almost 2 blocks. Then he upped it up a notch. Of course, in the point section, he was still delivering, not in the 30s, but still he was getting his teammates involved even more. 7 assists, 13 boards in the finals, 1.5 steals, and close to 3 blocks a game. That was huge, in my opinion.
The interesting thing about those numbers is his numbers have gone down points-wise because obviously the defense playing him over and over, coming up with different schemes, and so they really try to limit his touches. But you notice the rebounding and the blocks are much higher because, he understands the idea that defense wins championships. So he sacrifices a little bit of his offense to get to defense. And that's just the way Justin is. He'll look at the game and he'll say, okay, this is what I need to do more. Or this is what they're taking away from me. So I need to do a little bit of this. And he is he reminds me of Bobby Parks Sr. back in the day. You just, no matter what you did to Bobby Parks, he would figure you out and be able to find ways to win. And that's Justin in a nutshell.
Yeah.
He finds ways to win.
Yeah, he does everything on the floor, just as you said, just to get that W. It may not be eye-popping numbers at one point on the stat sheet, but he does everything, the intangibles, getting his teammates involved on the defensive end. Well, Coach, I'm enjoying this conversation, but let's take a quick break. Our conversation with Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cone will continue after a short timeout. And we still have with us today Barangay Ginebra head coach Tim Cone, the winningest coach in the PBA, 24-time PBA champion, 2-time Grand Slam champion, 4-time PBA coach of the year. And expect those numbers to even go up because he just keeps on winning. And there he is, Coach Tim, still joining us this morning. Coach, a lot has been said about Scotty Thompson over the past few weeks because of how well he's played for Ginebra. Not just in the finals, but throughout the playoffs. And you were mentioning earlier crediting Meralco and how their players have grown. But how about your player, Scotty, and how he has grown and matured? His game has evolved. I've seen this kid play in the NCAA for Perpetual back in 2014-15. What has impressed you the most about Scotty throughout this stretch?
Well, first of all, about the thing that always impresses me about I said to Johnny. I just think I always compare him to Johnny.
Yeah.
But the thing that always strikes me about Scotty is how humble he is as a player and as a person. He's an incredibly humble guy, and he's such a great teammate. And then he brings all these high energy basketball skills that just makes the teammates love him even more. So he's just really well loved on the team. And the interesting thing is that, for the first few years of his career, he was playing behind, LA and kind of like Mark Kagiwa and these guys. And then we acquired Stanley. And so Stanley kind of took the limelight. And then Stanley got injured. And then really about midway through this conference, after the break that we had during the pandemic, the coaching staff sat around and we decided that maybe it's time that we put Scotty as our lead guard. And he was the guy who's going to be the primary ball handler. And then so we could save LA's legs a little bit, not put so much pressure on him, we decided to move LA to the off guard position, where he would play as more of a shooter and scorer. And when we did that, it was funny because that's basically what Scotty was at Perpetual. He was that kind of player. He was a lead guard.
That's right.
So he kind of fell right back into that pattern. He struggled with it for about a game or two. He'll admit that, because I think it's just the idea, the newness and the nerves and everything. But then all of a sudden it was like, boom, a light bulb going on for him. And suddenly it just all came back. And then he's the player that he is now. He has taken hold of that position. And it really, so for me, for Scotty to get to this level was really more about opportunity than anything else. He always had that in him. He just never had the opportunity to do it like he's doing it now.
Yeah, I like how you told us, you narrated everything that happened when he came in. He was still, a young player in the PBA, and now taking the cudgels. Because when people get surprised, like, oh, he got a triple double, or Scotty did this, Scotty did that, because we know he has it in him, especially during back in his days with Perpetual. He won an MVP award in the NCAA. He was also doing those types of things, like also averaging a triple double there. And you mentioned LA, and boy, I've known LA since in college. He was my blockmate, and at this point in his career, you said resting his legs, but he is still delivering at the highest level. He can be considered the point guard, like a Chris Paul type. LA stepping up, especially in Game 6. If we go back and take a look at his numbers in that game, 30 points for LA at this point in his career. 4 boards, 4 assists in 41 minutes for LA Tenorio. And you compared LA to the fourth quarter man, the legendary Jojo Lastimosa, after that game, saying that when you need him the most to step up, he hits big shots. How do you think? How do you think he still does it? And guys like LA and Jolas just managed to flip that switch and come up alive in these big moments, Coach.
It's interesting to me. The most amazing stats, not the 30 points, but the 41 minutes. Because we really decided in this conference that we're going to try to limit LA's minutes. We're going to try to get him down to like 30 or 32 minutes a game. That was really our game plan. And he just wouldn't let us. He was just so good on the court, and we couldn't keep him off the floor. He had like 46 minutes in one game of the finals, 41 there. I mean, the guy's truly, truly amazing. And he played 699 straight games. He's never missed a game in his whole career. I mean, who does that? I mean, just amazing. But but in terms of the clutch, he's been doing that since Ateneo days.
Yes.
He was known in Ateneo, even in his Don Bosco days. So you watch some of the Don Bosco tapes of him as a little guard. In high school, he was doing that even in high school. So he's just continuing that legacy of making big shots, big moments, playing big games at big times. That's always going to be a tag on his career, being able to do that. And he's still doing it even at 38. He's still doing it at an incredibly high level.
It's just crazy, just mind-boggling. I didn't want to mention his age. He might get mad at me because we're in the same age. So
yeah, I know how old you are.
Coach Tim, a few other guys I want to talk to you about were X factors for you this conference, and I want to hear your thoughts really about them. Let's start with the bulldozer. This guy just doesn't quit. His energy is just unbelievable, and I'm talking about your big man, Christian Stan Hardinger. C-Stan, especially, when Japet Aguilar went down with that injury, Christian was just like a machine. He's just like the Terminator, won't give up on both ends off the floor. We know in the Philippine Cup, he was still kind of adjusting with you guys, but now it looks like he fits your team like a glove. Let's talk about Christian's value to this particular Ginebra team.
What impressed me the most about Christian was his incredible unselfishness through the whole playoffs. I mean, he just had one thing on his mind, and that was winning. I mean, he's got a real narrowed focus all the time, and he picked up that narrowed focus on just I want to win, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. I don't care about being in the spotlight. I don't care about anything. I'm just going to go out there and win. And so he didn't care about scoring. He didn't care. All he did was go out there and defend Bishop and all the other imports that we played to the best of his ability. He did things that only guards can do defensively. And he did it as a big man. And again, but it was more that, because if you're going to give yourself totally to the defensive side, totally to the rebounding side, totally to the get back on defense side, that's all the unselfish parts of the game. And And that's what he was totally devoted to. That game 4, where we led kind of big, we had a big margin through most of that game. And then Meralco came back and made a big run, got it to 1 point. And then Christian came out and made 2 baskets in a row after a timeout and to stretch it to 5. And then Scotty capped it with a 3-point shot. And that was the pivotal point of that whole series right there. Yeah. If we don't get that at that point, then that whole series changes, because we go down 3-1, we're probably never going to have an opportunity. And it was that moment right there that Christian really, stepped up and really changed the whole series around. So that's the point that I'm going to remember in this series, and what Christian meant to us for the playoffs.
Let's go to your amazing pickup. What a pickup this guy is. John Nards Pinto. And Nards just really, man, he it's funny how Sir Al Francis Chua said, we're never going to return this guy because he's just a perfect fit for you. What can you say about Nards?
Well, it's funny because of in the pre-finals press conference, Coach Al said, publicly that if we don't win, we're going to give him back.
Yeah, I remember that.
So then when we won, now he goes, well, now we're never going to give him back. Now, poor Nards, he had that pressure on him the whole conference. It's tough playing against your ex-team, that you had relationships with, and it's really hard. And, it's hard to find the balance of how hard you should go and how, keep yourself under control. And obviously, you always have something to want to prove, but you have to prove it within the context of the team and what the team's trying to achieve. And but he was our energizer bunny. He came out and energizes literally every time he came on the floor, and he was such a great compliment to LA and Scotty in terms of rotating with them. And in those times when we played 3 guards together. We had basically 3 creators on the floor and 3 great defensive guards on the floor. So, it was a tough combo to battle against. So, he made, some of the things he did, it's just, it drove the crowd crazy. Getting a rebound here or there, or a loose ball, or diving here. He really drove the crowd for us. And I think he became a crowd darling as the playoffs continued.
Oh, I agree totally. He is one of those crowd darlings already for Ginebra. I call him the mini Scotty 2.0, because the energy also brings on the floor. Coach Tim, before we take another quick break, let's find out first the answer to our quiz question of the day. I'm sure you heard me as well post this question earlier. Coach Tim Cohn won his first career PBA Governor's Cup title back in 1994. After steering Alaska past Swift in the finals. Who was the opposing coach of that series? Do you remember, Coach Tim?
I was going to Google it during the break. But I'm guessing it's either, I think it's Derek Pumarin, but it could be Yang Yao.
You got it the first, yeah. Sure. Well, you got it the first time. Manong Derek is the correct answer. Coach Derek Pumarin. Alaska, you guys beat Swift in 6 games during that series to win.
That's right. It was their Grand Slam. They were almost ready to win the Grand Slam the following year. They came back, and that's right. It was certainly. I should have remembered that. Of course, it was Derek. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good Swift team back in the 90s, 1994.
Great Swift
team.
They came this close from winning that Grand Slam in 1995. And then we won the Grand Slam with Alaska in 96. So that was huge, yeah.
I remember, yeah. I was just a little boy. I was like around 12, 13, watching the
Don't
PBA.
say that. Don't say that. You were a little boy.
Coach, let's take another quick break.
I was a young man, I guess, because I'm not a young man anymore, that's for sure.
I'm sorry. Coach Tim, I always love having you on the show.
LA's going to be mad at you. I'm already mad at you.
I know that. You're always mad at me. Coach, stay where you are. Let's take another quick break. Later, we will answer some of the questions that our viewers sent us online. Stay tuned to Sports Says only here on CNN Philippines, where we go all out for the day's top sports stories. We'll be right back.
Ang hope ko sa Pilipinas, yung lahat tayo nakakakain 3 times a day.
Give essential services to last mile schools or far from communities.
I wish mawala na yung corruption.
I hope that our country can talk openly about their mental health conditions.
For everyone to realize that we're all interconnected.
Na Philippines that recognizes, acknowledges, and respects my worth.
My hope is for people to choose to speak up.
What is your hope for the Philippines?
And we're back. Thank you for joining us here on Sports Desk only on CNN Philippines. Our guest today, Barangay Ginebra head coach, the one and only winningest coach in the PBA, Tim Cone. There he is. And now, Coach Tim, we're going to take a look at some of the questions that our viewers and everybody sent online in a segment we call Fans Want to Know. Okay, let's start with a question here from Super Ginebra. This question, of course, from Super Ginebra. Well, and the question is, congratulations, Coach Tim, and thank you for another trophy. Is there a chance that Justin Brownlee, might be coaching Ginebra when he retires from playing?
Well, I know that he had said publicly that he really appreciates Norman Black and his career, and he would like to emulate that. I think Justin would be a great coach. He's extremely humble. He gets along with players. He's so well loved. I think that's really the secret to his success, is his personality. He's greatly skilled, but what takes his skills to a whole different level is his personality.
Yeah.
And so I think he'd be a great coach, and I wouldn't be surprised. That wouldn't surprise me if he went into coaching and if he never gave him a shot.
Yeah, you're right about that. He's really just a great guy, Justin Brownlee is. Next question comes from Royce San Andres on Instagram. And Royce wants to know, Coach Tim, how did Scotty dominated in the clutch, especially in games 2 and 5?
Well, Scotty just comes out and plays his game. That's what's so great about Scotty. And he just comes out and plays the same way every game with the same kind of energy. Some players play up, they just play down. But there's such a consistency with Scotty. Some nights he'll be hitting his shots, and some nights he won't.
Yeah.
His energy, his focus will always be there, and his unselfishness and his work ethic on the boards and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So he affects the game in so many ways. Just like if some players, if they're not shooting the ball well, then they're gone for that night. You can't rely on him. But Scotty is so reliable. So I think when he has it all together, when he's making his shots, and that part of his game is there, then that's when he truly dominates. Because you don't know what to do with him. If he's hitting his shots, you don't know what to do with him anymore, because he's killing you in all the other areas.
You're right. Yeah, absolutely. Now let's go to our third question here. Engineer JCCCC, and it's John Carlo Antonio Engineer, and he with the 4 C's on Instagram. And here's this question, mag-extend pa po ba ng contract si Jeff Chan at babalik pa po ba si Justin Brownlee sa next Commissioners and Governors Cup? Will Jeff Chan's contract be extended, and will Justin also be back in the Commissioners Cup and of course in the Governors Cup, Coach?
Well, yeah. Well, first of all, that's all above my pay grade. First of all, I don't handle contracts, but obviously, Jeff showed that he has a lot to give still.
Yeah.
And he has a big role on this team. And I would imagine that the management would be very interested in bringing him back. It's all about Jeff Chan and whether he feels okay with his body and when he wants to go through all the rigors. It's hard to understand when you reach a certain age. You love the game of basketball, but you don't love the preparation it takes to play at a high level. And that's really the hard part. I mean, you forget, you just see them on the court and what they do, but the preparation going in there and the demands you have on your body to do that day in and day out is really, really difficult when you get to a certain age. That's what happened to Mark Kagiwa this year. He just found out that he just couldn't handle coming to practice every day and doing all the work. It was just too hard on his body. JJ felt the same way when he turned 41. He couldn't come to practice every day. So again, that's partly it's going to be on Jeff. Does he want to do it? Does he want to come back? I'm certainly the management will be happy to have him back. As for Justin, Justin writes his own ticket. He's going to come back as long as he wants to come back. and as long as he feels he can play at a high level. I mean, people were saying he was a little old today. Well, you know, obviously he's not. He's got a lot to give, and so he'll definitely be back as soon as we can come back. In fact, there's a rumor that he might hang around during the All Filipino Cup and just stay and help us out in practice and stuff during the All Filipino. We'll see.
Well, Coach, thank you so much again for answering the questions, and also thank you to everybody who sent all the questions, of course, here on the show. Thank you, Coach Tim. This is Camp 2. Well, thank you again for being on the show. Thank you so much again, Coach Tim. We just had, again, the winningest coach in the PBA. Congratulations to you, Barangay Ginebra mentor, Coach Tim Cone. Congratulations, Coach Tim, and thank you again for answering those questions and being here on the show. We